The 4th of October, the Media Center Ukrinform begins its work. My name is Svetlana Cheparenko. Now we are going to speak about the current situation in the Black and Azov Seas. And online with us is Dmytro Pletenchuk, the spokesman of the Naval Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Mr. Dmytro, good morning. Hello and welcome. Mr. Dmytro, let us start our conversation. What is the situation like in the Black and Azov Seas at the moment, and what is the level of threat at the time we're speaking? Basically, the situation is well controlled, although really complicated. Everything is happening the way that we have been planning for it in an ordinary way. We still have some 5 enemy ships in the seas. They have intensified the convoy and the protection of the Kerch Bridge. About 1 week they had a break, and right now they have resumed their patrolling. They have about 10 units of different boats. One more thing, in the Azov Seas there are 2 cruiser carriers, and there may be up to 8, and one of them is a battleship. What is this caused by? I'm not ready to explain yet. Yet we can see not the kind of a change in their tactics, but we can see that from time to time they're trying to move these boats and ships between different ports, Feodosia, Novorossiysk and Feodosia, and they try to enter and dock in Feodosia as infrequently as they can, because they do not feel the level of security that they would like to enjoy, because they have to go there because caliber projectiles have to be loaded there. But most of the time they get closer to Novorossiysk, their base there, and now they are beginning to enter the Azov Sea more frequently. But the Azov and the Black Sea water basin has to be regarded as a single basin, because basically it is a single basin, although of course these are 2 different seas. As of now, we have 3 ships leaving our ports of Ukraine, and along this new corridor we have 12 to enter and 10 to leave along this corridor. And these 3 which are leaving right now are the ones that I've just spoken about. This is a situation like 1.5 months ago, the Russian Federation have just presented a new Cyclone ship, and they scared the whole world how potent it is. So is it a real and imminent danger? Because basically during 1.5 months, we haven't heard much about this ship. In the nearest future, I don't think that you will hear anything about it. I don't know where this information comes from about its super potency. It's a very small cruiser carrier, a coastal one. Most of the time it acts from the river to the sea, and it's just a sea base for carrying cruising missiles. The rest of its armament is designed only for defense purposes, roughly speaking. So this boat is not going to participate in any maritime battles. In fact, this is just a platform which is supposed to go to sea, launch its 8 missiles, whose range is about 2,500 kilometers, and then hide away. So this is its only functionality. But even given the fact that it is only functionality, right now it's not capable of it. This is the last ship that they have built. I suppose that this is the last one in all senses in our temporarily occupied Crimea. I mean, it hasn't been through government tests in terms of missile launch. And it hasn't been launching any missiles for as long as half a year. So it speaks in favor of vessel building in the Russian Federation. It's really poor. We have also mentioned that Russia tries not to get its ships and vessels into Sevastopol. We understand why, because the armed forces of Ukraine have already inflicted a lot of damage in Sevastopol. Even the naval ministry of the UK yesterday claimed that the Russian fleet sustained discomfiture in the Black Sea yesterday. So do you agree with this assessment, and how did we manage to achieve this success? You know, this is a kind of a technical knockdown, but still writing off our enemy is too early, I presume, because it's a very powerful grouping of forces that has dozens of ships on its count. Therefore, I'm not ready to corroborate into the full scope the conclusions that you have just mentioned. Nevertheless, they still are having some difficulty, some trouble, because they're sustaining losses in the first place, and secondly, because they're limited in their water bases, because of the artillery bases working actively in these bases, and other components, the armed forces of Ukraine, the security service of Ukraine, and the chief department of the intelligence forces of Ukraine. So because it's temporarily occupied Crimea, which from time to time gets to hear about the ramifications of this work. Also, we speak about the scale of the blows, because it's difficult to manage the forces so lengthy for Russia. And the command of the Black Sea, the so-called Black Sea, in the Black Sea, I don't think that we will be able to see much of it live, and the corroboration of this information to the full is not available. But still, given the three yeses that we have already had, the loss of the flagship, the loss of the commander, and the loss of the commanding HQ, so this is a combo, and that's, of course, something that influences their functionality and capabilities. Recently, nearly every day, Russia has been attacking the port infrastructure in Ukraine and the grain terminals. They keep using Onyx missiles and drones. What does Ukraine have to ensure greater protection and security, and to ensure the protection for its port areas? So I suppose that one of the most radical decisions, it will be ramifying, amplifying the Air Force of Ukraine, having F-16 on board, or air defense systems installations. Of course, this has already been repeatedly mentioned online, to cover the whole airspace of Ukraine, because Ukraine is really a large country, and its airspace is voluminous. And of course, here we pin every hope on our colleagues and counterparts of the allies. Now the enemy is attacking the Snake Island, Osmini Island, way too frequently. So why is this the case, and what's the situation like on the island? Concerning the shelling, I cannot comment much. I can only point out one thing, that this is probably like the acts of impotence. So we have already liberated the water territory from the group of the boats and the ships. However, we still are experiencing a lot of trouble inflicted by their aviation. We're keeping this water territory under our control in terms of fire, but they're trying to control the airspace. And from time to time, their birds get in there for reconnaissance, and of course, they inflict fire. Given the fact that there are no many valuable targets, so they just drop bombs there. I cannot speak about military propriety of these actions. How heavily is the Black Sea mined? And is it possible to clear up the territory at the moment? Mine threat is, of course, potent. It's available. And given the fact that the Russians have done their best to create this mine threat in the Black Sea, starting with ordinary and all the way to drifting, floating mines that they periodically would drop in our water area from Mykolaiv to Odessa, and all the way the water carries us to Bosphorus. So, of course, this problem still persists. And the only thing that we can do is to have a full-scale operation on demining the territory. But we need to first install the absence of threat. The main factor of threat in the Black Sea is, of course, the Black Sea fleet of the Russian Federation, but the headquarters is working on developing this operation. But of course, in order to launch this operation, we need to ensure the necessary level of security. Right now, the level of security does not allow us to go for clearing up the territory of mines. The grain corridors, you have already said that civilian ships enter and leave the docks and ports of Ukraine. So what is the security territory and situation like, and how is this security being ensured of the freight, maritime freight? In our water territory, once again, the armed forces of Ukraine are trying to ensure this security. I'm not going to disclose all of the details. The only thing is, once again, let me reiterate, this is something that we are busy doing. Then they go to the Romanian water territory, then on to Bulgaria, then to Turkey. This is already the territorial waters of the NATO countries, and therefore, according to the international treaties, this is the sovereign territories of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Therefore, Russians are afraid of entering those waters for clear reasons. In our turn, we are doing all we can in order to provide for security, for civil water freight. Mr. Dmytro, thank you very much for your ramified answers. Thank you very much. And I would like to remind you that we have had Dmytro Pletenchuk, spokesman of the Naval Forces of Ukraine, and our media center will continue its work at 12, and we will make a presentation of the analytical report concerning how to return deported Ukrainians from the Russian Federation home. Please do stay with us. Thank you.